Well, it doesn't matter how blue-tinted your glasses are if you are watching Chelsea at the moment, because they were beaten in Orlando last night by 4-0 by Arsenal. Credit to Arsenal, who constructed their goals where, I'm not going to be completely honest with you, I watched the highlights this morning and I was blown away by how poor Chelsea's defending were in that game. Darren Lewis was in the stadium, the Mirror's assistant editor and co-host of the Game Day podcast from talkSPORT, and he joins us now. Hi, Darren.
Good morning, Darren.
Hi, guys. How are you?
What time is it, Darren? Do you know?
It is. I've lost all the focus or ability to be able to.
It's about 6 o'clock, isn't it?
This is because Darren went to Las Vegas. He did the Game Day podcast for us, and we arranged to do it. So it was late night for him, early morning for us. So we got up to do it at 8 o'clock, and he said, "Yeah, it's midnight." But what he didn't realise is, as you move across the country, the time difference gets shorter and shorter. So the last one we did at 8 o'clock, and he went, "Guys, it's 3 o'clock in the morning here. I didn't realise." Oh dear, it was bad for you, Darren.
And when I explained it. And then, Trev, when I explained it to Sam went, "Oh, yeah, I didn't think of that."
Stop it. Don't give the secrets away, Darren. You know the rules. Secrets. There's certainly no secret that Chelsea is struggling to get signings through the door. And the latest one of those is Jules Koundé. It looks like they're not going to get him.
Well, the interesting thing about Jules Koundé is that Todd Boehly, and I've written about this for the Daily Mirror overnight and for tomorrow as well. If you look now, Todd Boehly's been beaten to the punch by Barca for Rafinha. He's been beaten to the punch by Barca for Lewandowski. He's not managed to get Nathan Ake out of Manchester City. And now he's been beaten again, it looks to be the case, by Barcelona for Jules Koundé. And at the very least, he's struggling to get these signings over the line. Now, if you look at Arsenal have done 5 transfers now. You look at Liverpool, they've done their business. You look at City, they've done their business. You look at Tottenham, they've done their business. Chelsea are lagging behind. And this idea that you can take over a club and you do the business, it's proving to be a lot more difficult than Todd Boehly and the people around him must have thought, because on the basis of last night, and a lot of us in the press box at the Camping World Stadium, we simply couldn't believe what we're seeing. Chelsea looked so poor. They looked so unable to cope with a side, as Tuchel said after the match, that finished below them in the table, that don't play in the Champions League next season. Arsenal looked coached. They looked ready. Their signings are integrating. Zinchenko went straight into the side. Jesus looks like the striker they've been crying out for a long time. And they just looked at it. Chelsea can't get players in. They can't move players out. And again, Tuchel said, we've got players who are desperate to leave. And he didn't name those players, but I can tell you they are Ziyech, who wants to go to AC Milan. Alonso wants to go to Barcelona. Azpilicueta wants to go to Barcelona. Timo Werner wants to go to get regular first-team football. Pulisic wants to go and get regular first-team football. And at the moment, Chelsea are a little bit of a mess.
Well, it's a serious mess, and they were a mess at the back as well. I mean, Chalobah makes a mistake for the first goal. Second goal, brilliant from Ødegaard. Great pass from Martinelli, but the defence, again, was shocking. The third goal, it was like playground defending. And the last goal, a header from Lokonga. It appears that they left a gap in that defence for Jules Koundé to fill, but someone forgot to tell them that he hasn't signed and he's probably not going to. There was just a massive, massive gap. It's trouble, big, big trouble. And, Tuchel said, look, we were simply not good enough. We were simply not competitive. I am far from relaxed. And he said to you in the press conference afterwards, he thinks that, it's going to be difficult for them. They'd asked for urgent signings, surgery to the squad, and they haven't got them. He's getting frustrated, isn't he?
He is getting very frustrated. And in the press conference, he was even offered that, somebody said, well, you had been travelling for a long time, and, we know as journalists, for us, it's been a bit of a slog, so for the players, it must have been as well. And he wouldn't accept that as an excuse. And he said, no, there's tiredness, and then there is this. And he talked about a lack of commitment from the players, a lack of urgency. And you almost got the sense that one or two players he felt were looking after themselves in advance of moves to other clubs, because, as you say, there was something very alarming about the defending of Chelsea. And by that, I mean, midway through the first half, let me give you an example. There was a drinks break around about 25 minutes, And you could see Tuchel gathering his players, and while Arteta very relaxed, very calm, with Tuchel was laying into his players, slapping his hands, with his fist with the other hand, and he took Chalobah to one side because Chalobah had been having an absolute nightmare in that first 25 minutes and really laying into him. And I think as far as that defending is concerned, people assume that in the first week of the new season, Everton, who are struggling themselves, is going to be a shoo-in for Chelsea. On the evidence of last night, I would not be so sure. They can't score goals. They've conceded in all of their games so far in pre-season, and there looks to be nothing at the moment that is going to change anytime soon ahead of the new campaign.
Looking at what's gone on with the old chairman, it's probably undeniable that it's harmed the brand and the name of Chelsea. But just looking at the manager, he looks like he's always come across to me as a no-nonsense manager, and he's got a lot of players to keep happy and to rotate and rest and bring in when he needs them. Is that kind of management backfiring a little bit now with the club in such a... I mean, it looks like a perilous position where they can't get players in, they're competing against Barcelona, losing out left, right and centre, and all of a sudden they've only been able to get 2 players over the line. Is that management going against Thomas Tuchel, that he's not kind of a manager that looks like he's going to put an arm around players?
Well, no, I actually don't think that this is an indictment of Tuchel's management. I mean, he's been very clear with us throughout the tour that he would prefer to focus on the players and the coaching. He doesn't want to get involved in the acquisition of players and the targeting of players and whatever else. What Chelsea need is somebody like an Edu at the club, somebody like a Michael Edwards or Julian Ward now at Liverpool, somebody whose job it is to go out and get the players that he wants so that he can focus on the coaching. The problem with in a way, it's a vicious circle because Chelsea have to acquire a good squad rather than a good team. But the problem is that there are too many players at Chelsea who feel that they can play regular first-team football elsewhere. It's different in the case of Azpilicueta because he's won everything there is to win as a Chelsea player. So you can understand now why he wants to go to Barcelona. But my personal view is, and I can understand where Tuchel's coming from, why would you allow somebody so experienced in winning, somebody who is such a leader, somebody who could strengthen a rival European team, to join a rival European team? I wouldn't let him go if I were Tuchel, so I can understand why the frustration is there as far as he is concerned. But no, I just think that there are players now that Chelsea would have moved on had they been under a technical director who is organised. We are too deep in. Listen, Trevor, you know this far more than I do. We are too deep into the pre-season for Chelsea to still be doing their business while other clubs are settled. They are working with a good team structure, and they know where they're going.
They will say that there's still 5 weeks of the window to go, obviously, but ultimately they're missing the expertise of someone like Mourinho Granascaia, aren't they, who was absolutely wonderful at getting players out of the door and commanding fees for them when maybe it didn't look like that they deserve one. The fact that they've still got people like Batshuayi on the wage bill, though, highlights a problem that's been dogging Chelsea for a long time, is that they end up buying players at big prices on long contracts and then not using them. So they end up farming them out on loan after loan after loan and ending up in a situation where they just can't get them off the wage bill. And then you get the situation, like you said, where you've acquired a bit of talent but probably not good enough to win you the Champions League or the Premier League or get you closer to Manchester City or Liverpool. They don't play every week. They haven't set the world alight. Let's be honest about it. Christian Pulisic and Hakim Ziyech, you want to go off and play elsewhere. They haven't been the leading lights in the Chelsea team over the course of their time at Stamford Bridge. So again, you have to question the recruitment process in the first place. So Chelsea have got to sort that out. The new regime have got to sort that out. Tom Glick's now in as the chief operating officer alongside Todd Bowley. They've got to find someone who can do the proper recruitment, and they've got to get players in the door. And there's 5 weeks until the transfer window is closed. It's going to be a very difficult season, I think, and I get the feeling that Thomas Tuchel is starting to realise that, Darren.
Yeah, and you make so many good points all there. The first, obviously, is that they are missing Marina Granovskaya. She may have dropped a few rickets in the last few years of her tenure, but essentially she's somebody who understands the need to get players in quickly so you can bed in a new team. The other thing is that although there are 5 weeks left of the window, there are only 2 weeks left until the season starts. Now, let's be respectful to Tottenham. This is the kind of position Tottenham used to find themselves in, where they had a couple of weeks in the window and they still didn't know who was going out and who was coming in, and they were rummaging around for bargain basement signings. You look at Tottenham now, you look at how organised and efficient they've been with their recruitment. The players they want in are there. You look at Arsenal, the players they want in are there. They're at the stage of just one more if they can get one through the door. But if they don't, they're still in terrific shape. As far as Chelsea are concerned, they look undercooked. They look all over the place at the back. Koulibaly, when he came on, you could see where the £34 million went. He looks like a fabulous signing. But as far as Chelsea are concerned, this idea that Boehly could take over and deal with the recruitment himself has backfired spectacularly and left him in a very difficult position.
OK, Darren, thank you very much. We will let you go and get some sleep. It is, just to clarify, 10 a.m. where you are, but IHOP is still open, mate. You can get yourself a nice big breakfast and then you can crack on for the rest of the day. Darren Lewis, who will be on the podcast later this week to review the Chelsea tour with us. I wonder if Chelsea will get any more players in or out by the time we next speak to him.